6:30 a.m. Norway Close, Corby. The headmaster of Kingswood School, Brian Tyler, takes a contemplative jog.
You see, a lot of cant talked about how difficult it is to be head, and the loneliness and the aggravation and the hassle that nobody understands us and all that. Well, of course, it's not compulsory, but you don't have to be head. I've always felt that I could do it better than any of the heads I've worked for. But probably all young men feel that anyway. I should think if they're any good at all, it's a sort of law of nature, isn't it? You sort of despise the old compromised and compromising. You know, there are no doubt young Turks at Kingswood thinking what a shady, compromising fudger of issues I am and all that. And by God, if only they were in charge, it would be clean cut and they would drive through to utopia and so on. Well, I used to feel like that. So that, and you know, it's a good thing people do, because that's how things happen. There comes a point, a momentum in one's career, in this trade, where if one is any good at all, you know that if you don't die, you're actually going to be a headmaster.
Brian Tyler didn't die. He did become a headmaster. A posthumous child, he was born in 1938, 6 months after the death of his father. His mother brought up 5 children on her 12 and 6 a week widow's pension and her wages as a dressmaker. Not surprisingly, Brian Tyler left school at 16, out of financial necessity. He went to work as an office boy and took A-levels at his own insistence in his spare time. He served his national service in the RAF, and after yet another unsuccessful attempt at office work in an insurance company, he started to train as a teacher in 1961. Brian Tyler started teaching English in a secondary modern school in the East End of London, not far from his birthplace. Again, in his spare time, he studied, this time at London University, and, almost uniquely, was awarded a first-class honours degree in English literature. His teaching career flourished, and in 1978 he was appointed headmaster of Kingswood, his first headship.
Excuse me. Could I have a word with that young lady, please?
This is...
Why are you standing up?
Just talking to me.
Yes, what are you got your coat on for? Why don't you put it, hang it up, please?
They wouldn't... They were religious. They wouldn't...
You know quite well you're not allowed to wear coats, don't you? Your name?
Just Langley.
Okay.
3rd year. Maybe in 3 years, long enough to find out.
Listen to this.
Right?
Look, what she's saying is basically...
I think we better have a word after school, all right? I think anybody who aspires to power really is... one has to question them. I think they're neurotic, probably. I think sensible, stable people play golf or make models or grow roses or whatever, you know. And so there are deep, hidden motives that it's probably unwise even to begin to try to analyse. But I would have thought ambition in any area is a function of neurosis, I should have thought. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's a kind of datum. It's what you do with whatever you are that's important.
Brian Tyler is married with 2 daughters, the eldest of whom has already started at Kingswood.
Bell's been gone at least 10 minutes. Now make a start, please. Are you on a free period? Come on, the bell's been gone about 10 minutes. Look at this. You're studying comics, are you? Free period, is it, Mr. Wise? You're waiting for your teacher? I think the success of a school depends...
You're on a free period, Susie.
...on the perceptions that everybody in it has of their relationship with the head. I think if they think the head's all right and doing his best and trying hard and looking after them and caring about them and so on, then the school's going to be good. It's a kind of historical... It stems from the Arnold tradition, no doubt, but schools are so heavily paternalistic. And a family's OK if dad's all right, isn't it? And it's not much more complicated than that.
What does it look like? Practical joke week or something? It's a hopeless situation. Absolutely hopeless. How can I mark them and give them back if they don't come in at the right time? How can we progress? We can't. We've got to face up to our responsibilities, haven't we? We agreed they were going to come in on Monday.
I see you Friday morning.
Beg your pardon. So you did. Sit down.
And it's perfectly possible to rip a child off for misbehaving and all that without there being any personal animosity on either side. Hate the sin and not the sinner and all that, you know. And all the while they think you like them and are friendly and well-disposed, and then that is what they'll be to you, like you are and everybody else is.
Reports. The headmaster sees selected pupils.
Not the best report I've ever seen.
No.
Do we think it's all fair? Georgia must hand her homework in on time, English, take more care with it, etc.
Well, he says I don't do my homework very much, but I do, really.
Mm-hmm.
I always do my homework.
He says you don't take enough care, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Or is that true?
sometimes.
Hmm. Do you plead guilty to this? Georgia started you extremely well, but since Christmas she's put very little effort into her work and her standard has dropped.
No, I don't think that in French, no.
Sorry, you don't think that's true?
No, not in French. I think I try quite hard in French.
She also says you can be disruptive.
No, I don't think, because we sit next to boys anyway, and I don't see how we can really, because you're always quiet when you sit next to boys, don't you?
I don't know, do you?
Well, I am, yeah.
If there's too much of anything like that, Georgia, you and I will find ourselves in the sharpest possible disagreement. All right? But there won't be, will there? That's a guarantee, is it? Go on, then. Now, are you accepting the general tone of this, that you're not making enough effort in areas?
Yeah.
That's crazy at your time of life, isn't it, given that you're clever and everything?
Yeah.
I think I'd better check up on you, don't you, in half a term's time, all right? And I shall ask Miss Prentice to get the information from everybody, and it'd better say that Adrian's making an appropriate effort to his ability. Otherwise, we shall have a somewhat less amicable interview. Sylvia has not adopted the correct approach to this subject. Silly tantrums.
Tantrums.
True?
True, I suppose, but it's not always my fault.
Oh,
and I
no,
don't see how I
no,
can get
no,
it
no.
right all the time.
No, well, we're not talking about all the time, are we? PE, silly, really excellent work, it says. Often spoilt by silly, immature behaviour. Guilty?
Guilty.
I reckon, Miss McVeigh, knowing you as I do, that you could do very well, but it's all this bubbling about and it's not my fault, and isn't it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not helping you very much.
No, I suppose it's not really.
No, we're not 10 anymore. This isn't Kingswood Juniors, you know.
No.
This is, we're very old ladies trying to do well, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm going
Don't
to
you
try
think?
my hardest now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Now, what shall I do? Shall I check up on you next term?
Yes, please.
I'll get a report from everybody and they'll all say Sylvia's stopped messing about and having tantrums and he's working hard and all that, won't they?
Yeah.
Will they?
Well, hopefully.
Well, I'll be happy with just some improvement, all right? I try to show affection to them because I actually feel affectionate towards them.
And again, one establishes personal relationships with people by being friendly, does one not? And open.
And I hope it doesn't say things like that.
No.
All right, sweetheart?
Yeah.
The sign of a friend, I would have thought, is that or one of the signs is that they demolish barriers between each other.
How many people actually object to homework?
At home, you're supposed to do what you like watch telly and all that.
Yes. But if we say to you, look here, if you want to get 5 O levels or 6 CSEs or 3 A levels or whatever, you know, there's not enough time at school, there must be homework. What then? Sorry, Angela, yes?
I'm not allowed to wear jeans.
Ah, I'm not allowed to wear jeans.
Yeah.
We should have no rules at all about dress.
It's not really up to the teachers to tell us what to wear, though, is it?
It is really, yes, I'm afraid so, yes. Yeah. I can decide what is suitable for you to wear for school, yeah. You could say it's stupid and wrong, but it's legal. It's legal.
You could make us wear a uniform.
Yeah, I could do, yeah, that's right.
Well, I could get him just wearing what we're
Yeah.
now.
We could wear trainers because there's sometimes trainers are more comfortable than shoes.
Yeah, I'm thinking seriously about that trainers thing. I think that's, you know,
more
that's worth thinking
comfortable.
about. I agree. Yes?
Like playing around the bike sheds and that.
That's unreasonable. Why do you think that rule exists?
Because there's more rooms than that.
Yes, why do you think the rule's there? That particular rule?
Probably because there's too many places poked on or something.
Yeah, and you?
That's a place where everyone goes to have a fag.
And there's the smoking, yes, right. Yes. So, to remove aggravation, he says fights, you say smoking. So, to remove aggravation, you say, OK, if nobody goes there, they won't fight there, they won't smoke there, so...
But if people are going to smoke, they'll just find another hiding place.
So what should we do, allow people to smoke?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, in a way, yeah.
Do you think so? We should say, OK, anybody can smoke?
It's like
I think you shouldn't just try to catch him, but make a rule against it, I suppose.
when you were young, you probably wanted to have a fag in your school.
Certainly not. Certainly not, Simon. Children, like everybody else in the world, assuming that they're not loonies, behave to you in exactly the same way as you behave to them. And if you're polite and friendly and oncoming and all that to them, that's what they'll be to you. And that's the long and the short of it. Why should you be different from anybody else? I don't like wearing a suit every day. It gets on my nerves. That's the role I play. I explained that to you before. If you didn't live in Cottingham, I'd send you home to change. Now, you're not to wear jeans tomorrow, is that clear? Tomorrow morning, will you come and see me, please, so I know you're not wearing them? And will you kindly stop pushing your luck? There's going to be a row in the end. Am I making myself clear? All right. Going to give you an English lesson now. What's that out there?
A lorry.
No, that.
Playground.
Playground. What's it for?
Playing.
Right. If you come in here, it's for sitting and talking. Is that clear? So push off outside and play. Go on. I have made it a rule ever since I've been doing this job, really, that it is not possible for a child to offend me personally. There are no circumstances in which what a child says to me would offend me. And I think that's, if everybody else operated on that principle, we get on a lot better.
Shoes?
Yes.
You said I could wear
I
them.
don't remember saying that.
You did, because you stopped me in the doors and you stopped me twice. And I says, you said I could wear them last time in that doorway. You said, oh, did I? And I said, yes. And he says, well, that's all right.
Could you do me a
then.
favour and not wear them then, please?
Like
Oh, well,
this.
yes, right, yes. You go tut, but it's difficult, isn't it?
Well, you said it
Well, let's have a look.
twice.
Let's have a look.
I mean, you're the headmaster.
I know who I am. I know who you are. I mean, why do you have to wear those?
Because that's what goes with the dress. No, you said it twice, though.
I don't remember saying it, but if you say I said
You
it, then
did.
of course I said it, yes.
You didn't remember last time,
No,
either.
didn't I? But you would agree that the general rule is that people don't wear pointed heels for reasons that are quite rational.
Yeah, but last time you said they weren't that bad and they had plastic buttons on them, so you said that they were right.
It's causing me some embarrassment. I mean, you said to her, oh, Mr. Tyler's like, well, it's
you
scarcely
did.
tactful, is it? Is it?
Well, I can't sit there and say...
No, you're right,
oh,
you're right, you're
wear
right,
them,
you're right,
you
you're
said
right.
it.
Yes, you're right, you're right. I mean, do you want me to say, look, then you can't wear them?
Well, I don't... You said it twice before that I could.
I mean, why not wear something else so you can wear flat shoes? Eh?
Well, you can't stop me wearing them and that other people that still wear them.
Have you seen anybody else wearing them?
Yeah, a lot of girls still wear them and no one stops them.
Miss Bevan does. She stopped
If
you, didn't
she sees them.
Well, yes, right. She saw you. You don't seriously expect me to overrule Miss Bevan's judgment on girls' clothes, do you? It's no good shaking
I knew you'd say that. I knew you'd say...
Well, aren't I right?
Well, and you always do that. You always say, well, do what she says then.
Surely that's right, isn't it?
Well, you shouldn't have said that in the first place, then. That's twice you said that to me.
My judgment was that they were all right. Clearly, since you say I said they were all right, her judgment is that they're not all right. I wish other teachers would grasp this quite simple principle. We are paid to get on with them. There's no reason... to get on with them, personally. Yes, there is no obligation on them to get on with us. We are the people who are supposed to know how to do it and make relationships and get on with them. You expect me to say, sorry, Miss Bevan, I overrule your judgment, do you?
Well, you're the headmaster.
No, come on then. Don't be sulky about it.
It's up to you. You're the headmaster. You make your decisions about it, don't you?
Then you expect me to be an expert on girls' fashions and so on, do you?
No, you just have to say, yes, I can wear them, or no, I can't. But you said I could before, twice.
That's right. You're going to be stubborn about it and make me say you can't wear them, are you?
No, I'm not going to make you say anything. I think you should have said no before if you're going to say no now.
Obviously, at the time, I must have thought they were all right, mustn't I?
Yeah.
But now Miss Bevan tells me that they're not all right. What are you going tart for?
Because you're gonna say no, I can't wear them because Miss Bevan came to you.
That's right. That's her job, isn't it? That is her job. Look, let's go through it. Would you agree, A, that if it is so that the pointed heels actually damage the floor, then people didn't ought to wear them in school for that reason? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Right.
But last time that you said
that. That is the reason for the rule, OK? Miss Bevan's judgment, who, after all, is the deputy head of the school and does have a responsibility for these matters, is that those particular shoes that you're wearing are pointed and do damage the floor. In fact, she told me that she pointed out the little holes to you.
Yeah.
Right? So why does it have to be a quarrel?
No, all I'm saying is you said yes, and now you're going to say no because Miss Bevan came to you. You should have said no in the first place.
Well, I thought they were all right in the first place.
Yeah. You looked at them last time.
Will you please not wear them then? All right?
Breaches of dress and decorum or breaches of discipline. The approach is much the same.
What happened?
Yesterday we were doing KINGSWOOD and a man in white come in and she pushed me and I says, stop it. And she goes, no. She goes, you little slag bag to me. She says to me, well, she got a bag and she went after me and I says, stop it. And she goes, no. And I says, well, you're just going to stab me. So I'm going to...
You know what?
I'm fed up with it, so I am. Tracy Langley, Linfield.
Don't point at me, Maria.
Tracy Langley, Linfield, Mary White and all that are after me and Jeanette never had anything to do with it. So I'm sick of it. They're always picking on me and Jeanette.
So how did the fight start?
Mary White got a bag and she swung it at me.
Come here, Mariel. What does your mum say? Does she?
Yeah.
What's that?
Her hair.
Whose hair?
Her hair.
Her hair. How did I get it?
Is that her?
Yeah, how did you get it?
Up her hair.
Does your mum know that?
Yeah.
No, you tell me how it started.
Walking out changing. She pushed her straight in my face and so I hit her back. And she pulled my hair, so I just pulled her hair. And
So whose fault do you reckon it was?
Her hair fault.
All together?
She's been causing trouble for 3 years with me.
Have you had a fight with her before?
No.
You see, Maria says that, yes, she's to blame, but yes, you're to blame as well. You two had a fight with each other. Now, I want to know whether you think that you've got any blame to take on that.
She started all.
Yeah, but, I mean, if I go back and back, it'll be you said this and she said that and so on, won't it? And it'll be almost impossible to find out in the end, won't it? Am I right?
Yeah.
So what we come down to is the fact that you, both of you, in fact, were disobeying me, weren't you? You were fighting each other. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Much of the Kingswood approach is dictated by the fact that neither for girls nor boys is corporal punishment considered a sensible option.
If somebody bullies somebody else, for instance, you say to them that they ought to be ashamed of doing that, and that isn't the way we behave here because we're a civilised community, etc., etc., and they will acknowledge that as a truth in almost every case. I mean, those truths wouldn't be any more true if I then struck them with a stick. I mean, it wouldn't make it any truer that they, etc., etc. It does nothing. What does it do? Except teach the lesson that I am the kind of chap who will use force against them. And since we preach in season and out of season, and that's a bad thing to do, it's scarcely rational for me then to employ it as an arm of control or behaviour.
So you're not taking any responsibility at all?
Yeah.
You're taking some responsibility? In the end, somebody's going to be punished for fighting, aren't they? Aren't they? You think that ought to be both of you?
Yeah.
You sure? That's what you think?
Pragmatism is the answer, isn't it? I mean, if your next-door neighbour drives over your rose bushes or something, if you say to him, hey, George, look, me rose bushes, could you do something about it? He's much more likely to than if you say, this is my land and you'll be hearing from my solicitors, and meanwhile I'm going to thrash you with this stick. I mean, the chance of getting your rose bushes not driven on are better, I would have thought, if you adopt the first set of options.
Even when two girls play truant and then subsequently lie about their whereabouts, paternalism, not punishment, is the hallmark of the Tyler style.
You know that I now know where you went, don't you?
We were in the woods.
You went to Stephen Kennedy's house.
No.
Don't lie, Anna.
Well, we went to his house for a little while, and then
yes.
he went meeting a girl.
Yes. So all that messing about on Friday, I'm telling you the truth, looking me in the eyes and all that.
Well,
Don't interrupt me. I warned you that in the end I would know what happened. And perhaps you'll believe me when I tell you that next time. I always find out. Now, I'm very displeased with you because you set out to deceive me quite deliberately.
Oh, you asked me why
well,
I did
yeah,
that, and I told you the truth about that.
Anna, stop wriggling, dear. You set out to deceive me. And as I told you on Friday, that makes life very difficult. Because it means every time you and I talk to each other from now on, I'm going to have to think, is that right? Am I going? Do you see? You understand me? So can I rely on that in future?
Yeah, I'm sorry about the whole thing.
I'd say people should only really be punished for trivial things. Serious things ought to be negotiated and sorted out, and you know, some amelioration of behaviour ought to be pressed on them by reason. If people do very bad things, they're really beyond the reach of punishment, I think.
I advise you very, very seriously to keep away from this Mary, right? Because that isn't very far off being criminal. Money demanded with menaces and all the rest of it.
What do you mean menaces?
Threatening her and so on.
Never threatened
No,
her.
I didn't say you did. I didn't say you did. I said if I were you, I'd keep away from it. That's just a friendly word of advice, all right? Okay?
Yes, sir.
I'd go so far as to say wherever you find a happy, well-ordered school, you will find a regime rather similar to the one that operates here. Could almost make an equation of it. You know, the amount of real good order and feeling of belonging and desire to do well in and for a school is in inverse proportion to the amount of punishment that's administered.
I've got to be assured, haven't I, Elaine? Can I be?
Yeah, you can.
Look at me, can I be?
Yeah.
Because you gave me your word this morning, but even then you were still lying to me, weren't you? Weren't you? So it's got to be right this time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I can trust you. In that case, you can trust me, all right? But listen, if I forget that you lied to me, so next time we do with each other, I believe you, all right? Will that be a sensible thing to do?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because in the end, it comes out, you see, all right? So, we call it quits, you and me, right? I forgive you, you trust me, I trust you. That's the only way, all right?
All right.
But don't you let me down again.
Go on.
You're being punished, aren't you, by Mrs. Canelli?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. And that's it? Just two of you? Where? She did very well last night. Yes, yes. I thought it was a winner last night.
It felt good, even backstage, I thought. Everyone was coming off stage feeling much better than usual.
Sorry?
So did a lot of people last night. Especially in the last scene.
Oundle Public School, one of two major public schools in the area and the venue for the Oundle Music Festival. Kingswood's orchestra and brass band are both competing. Brian Tyler attends, but it's not an altogether comfortable environment for a comprehensive school headmaster.
I disapprove of people buying privileges for themselves that are denied to other sections of the community and thereby disadvantaging the other sections of the community. I regard that as selfish. I do not therefore approve of private education. I think, you see, it's not really about education anyway, is it? It's about seeking to advantage your children in life as against it's buying power, it's buying an entree into the elite, it's snobbery. What you are buying is power and social privilege, and ultimately I think that is irrelevant to the needs of society. They in fact produce the opposite of what they purport to produce. Most of them would claim to be Christian institutions based on Christian values and all that. In fact, they teach their people to regard themselves as superior to others, they regard them as members of an elite, a ruling class, and there's no doubt that that's what they do regard themselves as. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating. If these people have actually controlled the destinies of this country, as indeed they have for the last 100 years, you know, there's no reason why the rest of us should applaud, is there, considering where we are now. Also, I take exception to the people who work in public schools, actually, because they're presumably men of education and sensitivity. And what are they really but educational prostitutes, in fact? They're selling themselves for these sort of illicit desires of affluent people for privilege and power and so on. And I think that I would have a bad conscience about working in the independent sector. And I don't understand why they don't.
Right. And Corby... I can't read it.
At the festival, Kingswood's orchestra win first prize.
Corby Senior Youth Orchestra, 90.
I also disapprove of them because I think in the end, whatever grade you get at A-level and however well you learn to play the cello, if you are the son, as it might be, of a doctor or a barrister or a manager, you are better off being educated with the son of an out-of-work steelworker or the daughter of an out-of-work steelworker. Look at Kingswood, which represents almost every social class, living harmoniously, cheek by jowl, learning to cope with each other, learning what it's like to not have shoes to wear and so on and so forth, because the kid sitting next to you hasn't, and so on. That's got to be better. That's got to be better. If we had a world where people would regard their children as important as other people's children, but no more important than other people's children, we'd get a long way towards the kind of utopian education arrangements that you're looking for. It's atavistic, it's primitive, I think, it's tribal to seek to advantage your kids against other people's kids.
But when you hear Rhodes Boyson say that achievement is lower and standards are falling in comprehensive schools and...
Yeah, but he can't actually believe that to be true. Or if he does believe it to be true, God knows what he thought he was doing in his school for all those years. Because, you know, if it just isn't true. If you just pick up any book, you've done it yourself. You know it's not true. Standards are... Those kind of standards are infinitely, immeasurably higher. No doubt about it. Glad, you know, kindly Father Christmas.
Contributing to the maintenance and improvement of those standards, Brian Tyler teaches at least 14 periods a week.
What is he doing with the children? There's almost a kind of a sexual thing there, isn't there? Is he molesting them in some way? Is he violating them in some way? What is he doing with the children? Remember, it's called Innocence Song. It's something to do with loss of innocence. Who could have let him in? Treachery? Magic? Father Christmas, everybody knows Father Christmas can get in. He can come down the stairs, can't he? He can come down the chimney or whatever. How's this chap got in? And still the question's going on, you see, building up attention. Why has he rubies on his fingers? What colour, Miss Wood, are rubies? Red. What else do you think of with your superb intellect that's red? Apart from Liverpool? Blood. Say no more.
Traditionally, examination success has been the measure of a school's achievement. At Kingswood, however, it's not the only important criterion.
Schools didn't ought to be about examinations. It's a great historical complexity. It's all, you know, the legacy of old-style secondary education and grammar schools and comprehensive schools and secondary moderns all trying to validate themselves by certification of various kinds, O-levels, CSEs, A-levels and all that. And secondary education viewed par excellence as the gateway to higher education. So what we really care about, ultimately, this is all, as it were, quoting, what we really care about ultimately is how many we go to university and all that, and that's what we really, that is how you really measure the achievements of the school. Well, that's a kind of poisoning of the wells for a lot of other people. He's proved it. It's all been proved by what happened. The king was frightened by the play. His guilt has been revealed. And Hamlet is delighted. If you asked half the kids in the 5th year, they would probably regard most of what they do as a fairly meaningless and quite arbitrary concatenation of learning that appears to have no interest or relevance other than the fact that it's going to enable them to pass an exam. There's no kind of nonsense about education in it. The customers take a very utilitarian view of what schools are for. How is this going to help us get a job, say the ruffians? You know, I want 2 B's and a C, say the potential lawyers. Their view is utilitarian. Our view is in tension with that sometimes. And it's always been so. It's always been so. It has always been so. If her ladyship sees you in those shoes, there'll be trouble. Haven't you got any flat shoes?
I've only got 3 days left. So
I know, we better keep that for later. Lorraine?
Wait, come on.
Come here. Hey, come here. Has he been to the doctors? Have you seen him today?
No, I haven't seen him. He's been to the
So we don't know whether he's...
So that means it'll be on tonight, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Mark? Mark? Oh, you're on the bus, aren't you? I was just going to ask you what it was like, but no time.
Didn't go up.
Oh, didn't it? As a head, although it's difficult to the point of impossibility, it's not in actual day-to-day terms as difficult as teaching 8 periods of English or maths. You know, there are a lot of comforts. And that's so much more cant, you know. In fact, anything to do with successful schoolmastering or mastering is difficult. But I don't think from the point of view of the person who does it, it's much more difficult being head than it is being scale 1 out there teaching hockey in the pouring rain and then rushing back to do biology and then whipping off to a meeting about somebody in your class and then taking a second to go to the toilet, dashing off to do your register and then hurtling off to face a lot of alienated 5th years and then being badgered while you're having your cup of tea because you haven't done your grade sheets and then rushing off to take the 1st years and then coming back to go out and take them on a trip or to a football match and then going home and doing your marking, you know. I mean, that's a lot of work for £6,000 a year, isn't it? Really. And you're supposed to be skillful and good and magnificent and still be keen and come back to parents' evening and all that. Now, that's not an easy job. It's not an easy job.
You can get in on the night.
Well, not focused. But I'll tell you what, if you tell her to come, and tell Mr. Miranda to slip her in, all right?
Okay.
Are you coming?
Yeah.
You and your mum?
Yeah.
All right, yes, of course.
Okay.
Say you're a friend of mine, you'll be all right.
Come on, Baz! Where is she?
Tracy? Didn't I tell you to come and see me after school?
Yeah.
Well, will you go to my room then and I'll see you in a minute?
Classrooms may be shut, but the school is still open. Juliet needs advice on how to commit suicide.
Not back completely, but she can't do it dead side on or frontwards, otherwise it's impossible.
So she's going to go... Can you get out of the way? She's going to go, kiss your lips, da-da-da, lips are warm.
Yeah, but
Where are your legs?
Here. This side.
You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yay noise and I'll be brief.
Well, the only other way she could do it is if instead of just sitting still and shoving it in her, is how she shoves it in her, sort of folds up.
Yes, but she's frightened. She's frightened.
Well, it hurts her, wouldn't it?
Of course it'll
She
hurt
is
me.
frightened of it.
Frightened.
No, I mean Marion thinks she's
Oh, I
frightened
see.
of it.
Oh.
Swear it's here somewhere. Oh. So if she went like that, it would be terribly unconvincing.
See what else there is.
No, not do I.
Why wouldn't Shakespeare make me poison myself? Can't you borrow a little dagger?
Producing the school play gives Brian Tyler a chance to relax in the company he enjoys.
One assumes that staff being adults and are better able to take care of themselves than kids not being adults. I mean, on that level, right? I think the morale of the staff depends on the success of the school, and the success of the school depends on the happiness of the kids. So to that extent, to whatever side with the kids means is probably the right thing to do anyway, even in the best interest of the staff. I think also that I don't think you can be a very good teacher or be very much used to a school as a teacher without some element of the notion of service, of actually feeling some kind of desire to serve the kids rather than simply to earn your money and all the rest of it. I don't think that you're ultimately any good. I mean, obviously the money's very nice. I wouldn't want... I mean, the main satisfaction of being ahead from day to day is having more money than you would if you weren't.
In a town with few other legal diversions, the youth club keeps the school active until 10 p.m.
There may be a point when I'll perceive that I'm fed up with it, or I'm not doing it very well, or the people don't like me, or the customers haven't got any confidence, or I haven't got the old Svengali touch with the kids, or whatever it might be. Now, at that point, of course, perhaps one ought to do something else. As a head, ultimately, you don't really know whether you're any good or not, actually. You don't know how much better it could be if somebody else was doing it, do you? Or how much worse it's going to get. It's a very exposed position from that point of view, because it's because of all I've been saying earlier about the paternalism and all that. Who actually tells the headmaster the truth anyway? Who's qualified to?